School of Extension and Development Studies has a program called PG Diploma in Urban Planning and Development and Masters in Urban Planning and Development. And today we are going to discuss problems and issues in urbanization and urban development. Now, before I start the discussion with Professor Pattanaik, I would like to give a brief understanding about urbanization in India. We all know that the rate of urbanization in India is almost 36% today. And there are around 53 metropolitan cities which has a very large population of urban, that is around 43% of total urban population lives in these 53 cities. Apart from that, there are other small cities and towns numbering more than 7,000. So we find that the rate at which there is a shift, the influx of population from rural to urban area is increasing. So this particular issue, that is the issues and challenges of urbanization and urban development, becomes very important for discussion for our students and even for the general public. But before we start our formal discussion, some understanding about urbanization. One very important issue about urbanization is urban primacy. Urban primacy, to make it very simple, urban primacy is an issue where there is a dominance of one city in a particular state and entire population stays in that city. So that adds all kinds of problems to the metropolitan city. This is called urban primacy. Now, urban primacy also is because of so many other issues like lack of infrastructure in other cities, other towns, lack of communication, lack of infrastructure. So this adds to all kinds of environmental, urban ecological issues, urban social issues in metropolitan cities as we find. Like urban primacy has become very important and is very pronounced in Hyderabad. In Hyderabad city, almost the population of Hyderabad is 9 times more than the population of second city, the second biggest city, that is Warangal in Hyderabad, in Andhra Pradesh. Similarly, in Bangalore, these two are the towns where urban primacy is a very big issue. In Bangalore also, the population of Bangalore city is almost 9.2% times more than the second largest city, that is Hubli in Dharwad. So we find that there is a traffic congestion, there is a cost of living is very high in these two cities. So these are the issues of urbanization. Before I move forward and have further discussion, let's try to see and understand what are the issues which can be discussed under urban primacy. And I would like to invite Professor Pattanaik on the issue of urban primacy.
Exactly, Professor Farooquee, you have rightly pointed out urban primacy, because what is happening, there is a growth. Already crossed 1 crore of population. And what is happening, the class 2, class 3 and class 4 cities are not developing. Because government, all the concentration on the primacy, as you rightly pointed out, that even in Bhubaneswar, even in Chandigarh, if you go to the cities of in the Punjab, such a developed state, Muksar, Mansa, Faridkot, you will not find that those are cities. Right. Because they all the concentrated in Ludhiana and Chandigarh. And as compared, we have also examples of how city can be. You take the example of Uttar Pradesh, and most of the city, Lucknow, Allahabad, Kanpur, Agra, all those cities are almost equal. So there is less pressure on Lucknow as compared to the capital city. Right. Because everything, there are models. Here also in India, that how the city, the state have grown those cities very parallelly and very equally. So there is need for decentralization of development to the class 2, class 3 and even the cities. What is happening, we are not, the main issue is how to identify the heritage cities, because there are also small towns, those who have good heritage. And heritage has a lot of, suppose take example of Agra, and now it is another city, Ayodhya. So we have to identify similar type of heritage cities where you can attract the population, even capital investment to those cities, and that is not happening. And another thing is that the main problem in the urbanization is informal sector. Growing number of informal sector, because more than 85% of the people, they are working in informal sector. Your rediwala, this rickshaw pullers, then auto drivers, those do not have a specified type of income. So informal sector, how to formalize the informal sector, that is a big issue in particularly in developing country. And why there is a need for city? Because if you want to have a Viksit Bharat, the developed India, the most, if you see, more than 85% of people in the developed country of Europe and US, they are staying in cities. They are staying in, and Singapore, they don't have the rural population. So we have to, in order to have developed, the ultimate channel is the urbanization. And how to do the balanced urbanization, as I told you, that how to develop the class 2, class 3, class 1 and Nagar Panchayat, that is a challenge before the government.
Very rightly you said, Professor Pattanaik. We have a very good example of Kerala, that out of all the growing metropolitan cities, there are 6 metropolitan cities which has come up in Kerala in last 5-6 years. Thrissur is there, Kochi is there, Kozhikode is there. So like this, there are so many other cities. So the pressure on one particular city, as Professor Pattanaik was discussing, is less. So issue of resources, congestion, traffic congestion is less. It is evenly spread. Similarly, we also find that in Maharashtra, apart from Mumbai, Pune is another alternative. So there, the problem of urban primacy is less, like Uttar Pradesh, as he was mentioning. So these are some of the issues of urbanization, where if we, and economy, like MSME, micro and medium small enterprises, what Professor Pattanaik was telling, if it is developed in class 2 and 3 cities, so population will automatically go in these sectors also. So there is also a need for developing MSME enterprises in class 2 and class 3 cities of these states where urban primacy is an issue. Now, let's try to discuss about the urban development now. Now, this is the problem relating to urbanization, where we find that concentration of population in one city is more because of the infrastructure and because of opportunities of health, school opportunities, employment opportunities. Now, if, like MSME, if it is developed in a class 2 and class 3 cities, for population will disperse.
You have rightly mentioned that recently one of the report of the Niti Aayog, it says that if you develop the cities, the growth rate will be more than 4%, MSME and all those things. Actually, cities contributes more than 60% to the GDP, and in the developed country they contribute even 70 to 80% to that GDP. So ultimate answer is how to develop the city and how to overcome why a person come to the city. Right. He comes with a presumption that he will have a good standard of living. Right. He will get a good job. He will get all the basic amenities, good quality of basic amenities. What is happening ultimately? Very few percentage of the city population, they get basic amenities, and other people living in the slum, unauthorized colonies, and even in Delhi there are more than 390 villages. You see how to converge the development process of the cities and cities. You cannot eradicate those villages. How to make the standard of living of those villages and how to develop those villages, that is a great challenge. And what is happening, the first project is the biodiversity. What I find, the cities is the city of car and buildings. Why Corona? Recently the Corona, most of the people, as compared to the rural areas, people died of Corona in the cities. Was more, pandemic was more furious in urban areas as compared to rural areas because of urban pollution. It is another problem. And there is lack of biodiversity. I am giving an example. Earlier I was reading this, there is a Sapurjar village. When I came 9 years back, there are few buffaloes there. And now when I am going, there is no buffalo. They have constructed a house there. And there is no biodiversity. There is no animals. If you in the cities, therefore, as you rightly said, there are great opportunity to develop the city in a natural way in class 2 class city and also in heritage cities, where there is a scope for making the city more smart, with all the ecological and sustainable issues taking into consideration. That is very, very important.
Right. You have mentioned about biological diversity in urban areas. Particularly, you mentioned about Delhi. The problem of forest areas, problem of water bodies, problem of open space is primarily because of overpopulation and also because of thrust is on development to provide infrastructure to the ever-expanding, ever-growing population, which is not non-stop coming all the way. So the importance of these biological diversity, which you say was more felt during Corona period, but it is also felt during extreme summer condition, when there is a paucity of water, when the temperature rises, people want to go to open space and relax for some time. Children want to play in open space, and that also has ecological benefit. Like when there is a rain, the water percolates through open space, the grasses, the gardens, the park, the playground, and it recharges the groundwater, which does not happen if it becomes concrete, as you find, as you rightly said about Shahpur Jat example, that it has become completely concretized and people have left those activities.
Even 5, 6, 7 years back, there was a flood in Kashmir for the first time, because the study says that whatever the open space were there, they have been filled with garbage either or buildings or waste disposal tanks. So disposal of the waste is a big issue in urban areas. Yeah. So here the role of the municipality, because how we make the most of the municipality, you see there is no capacity building. They are not able to innovatively thought how to develop. Only they are concerned with the basic needs. They are not concerned how to generate employment in those areas, self-employment activities, how to train the youth for self-employment, women empowerment. All these kind of happen are the urban local bodies are not taking so much of initiatives. So it is the role of urban local bodies in the smart cities. If you make the city smart, your urban local bodies, urban governance should be very, very smart. Your infrastructure, whatever the infrastructure you are giving, they should be sustainable infrastructure. You see, during time of heavy rain, you will find all the cities, whether it is Chennai or the Delhi, people become, they just pray God that there should not be more rain.
Right.
Because of ineffective management of the infrastructure there, and so that is also a big problem in the cities. How to make the slum smart. Because you cannot in the cities you cannot wipe out slum, because every city in the world have the slum population. How to make the slum, because ultimately all the infrastructure, all the development, they are being done by the slum people. Even the households are depending on the housemaid, on those who are staying in the informal settlement and the slum. How to make, even you see, even the housing property is a very big issue in the cities. Even if you have purchased a house, you are not sure whether it is your house or somebody else.
Right.
because the land belongs to some, the power of attorney, and there are several concerns lies in the city. So the legal issues, there are administrative issues, governance issues, all these cities. If you wipe out all these issues, you can make the life of the people very, very healthy in the city.
Yeah. Like you very rightly said, that slums are very important place where population holds there. Almost 30% of population in all the metro cities in India, for all the 53 metropolitan cities, they stay in slums. And what do slums contribute? They gradually have encroached either the forest area or the water bodies, and they have also made their abode settlements in the small rivulets or the water channel which was there. So water channel is clogged, also because of the lack of urban local bodies. They are not performing, but it has population, people have made informal settlement, they have encroachment is there. So that is also adding to the floods, as we find not only in Srinagar, floods in Bangalore, in all the posh localities, in the Chennai, we find flood is a very common even in Rajasthan cities, Jaipur or Jodhpur. Now this is happening because all the water channels have been clogged and people have made encroached into these areas. Now, Professor Pattanaik, you very
that's why you gave the example of Kerala, because very rightly, because Kerala is a model of urban rural continuum. They have developed their small cities, even Nagar Panchayats in a very way. Those who are very comfortable to stay, they have the good housing facilities. So how to make the supportive of urbanization, we must also make the provision of urban amenities in rural areas, as was advocated by Abdul Kalam, our then president. He was very serious about development of the rural areas, so that they should not be burden on the urban areas. So here comes the urban paradox. Because whenever a person comes to the Delhi, the main or any urban areas, the common sense that Delhi ka laddu jo khaya wo bhi pasta hai, jo nahi khaya wo bhi pasta hai. The person whenever come to the any metropolitan cities, he come with a hope that he will get a formal employment. Why they are coming? For employment, for either for healthcare, for education, but ultimately many of them end us with the informal sector. That is the agony. How to stop the migration? How to diffuse the population from the class 1 cities to all other cities. Yeah. And it is good the government nowadays shifted the IIMs, the central universities and many of the institutions to the different cities in different states. That is a good step, and more decentralization you will make the life in the cities, because there is a saying that old city, old Delhi, new Delhi, old Bhubaneswar, new Bhubaneswar, old Jaipur, new Jaipur. This concept of paradox, that has to be overcome, because otherwise you cannot make the city smart. Even within the old cities, you have to think of through the renewal mission how to whatever the extent it is possible to make all the communication system, there is safety and security. These are very major issues in old cities. Safety and security, crime, urban crime is a very big issue, and that has to be, because whenever we discuss the issue, all these issues are cropped in urban areas, not in rural areas. So, suppose traffic. For 8 kilometers, you have to take 1 hour, because we have to see how to control the traffic. Yes, in Delhi it is you have metro, but if you see the total city, take the example of Chandigarh. When Lee Corbusier planned the Chandigarh, it was for 5 lakh population. Now it is more about 20 lakh or 25 lakh population staying in a small city. And it has become so much congested. And we have to see how much population, optimum population a city should have. I have seen while I was in China, there was saying that the people, those who come to the city, they have to go back. They require a permit to stay in the city. So that we have to see how, of course it is not possible in all the democratic or state, but we have to see that how much population a city should have in order to call a smart city, and people should enjoy the good quality of living. That is the thing.
Right. As you rightly said, that the infrastructure opportunities should be dispersed. The other day I was reading one example from Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh was bifurcated from Telangana, and now they have learned from the issue of primacy, urban primacy of Hyderabad. Now they have developed 6 cities, one for education, one for health, one for commercial activities, Kurnool, Warangal, Visakhapatnam, likewise Guntur. So the population is dispersed. Similarly, there are some cities, they have also, like in Karnataka also, they have learned. So they are also dispersing educational facilities and health facilities to class 2 and 3 cities of other towns to ease out the population pressure, and so that the environmental, the biological diversity is maintained and people have a better quality of life. Now, very important issue was, you touched very rightly about MSME. In cities like Delhi, or you gave example of Chandigarh. Now Chandigarh also has 2 sister cities, one in Mohali and one is Haryana capital, Panchkula. Now there the urbanization, the MSME activities are more dispersed in these 2 sectors. So the population of Chandigarh goes to these areas. I was just seeing a report that they go and they work there and they come out and stay in Chandigarh. So that way, if it is possible, what do you think that
you see that's why I am saying that there are sometimes you take the example of Amritsar.
Right.
Entire city, the livelihood of the people depend on the Golden
Temple. Yeah.
There are so many hotels, there are so many guest houses, there are so many self-employed shops, business, there are so many auto rickshaw, then there are so many communication facilities, lot of employment. We have to see how, we have to find out, you have to see city in the several types of cities.
Right.
Heritage city, we have to see industrial city. Suppose take the Pattanaik, it was an industrial city, developed earlier, and we have to see cities developed in the holy rivers, suppose Haridwar. Like that, we have to find out the places and what are the heritage sites attached to it, so that they can self-sustain.
Very true.
My side, that instead of depending on the central government and state government and the central finance commission budget and state commission fund, city should be sustainable city. That is my concern. Make the city sustainable, and that can be sustainable if we find the places where really city can and dispersing the developmental activities to the focus growth areas, because city contributes 60% to the GDP. And if we have to make our country, nations, any nation, not only any developing, you see the Singapore, you see the Japan, you see during time of independence, they also got independent in 1945-44. China also get, even South Korea got in 19, where they are. Of course, we have several disadvantages, several problems, but we have to see within that how we can make the city life comfortable, city life safe, and city life ecologically sustainable. Because you see in Delhi, there are the vehicles are in crores, because there are more than 1 crore vehicle in the Delhi.
Right.
But the trees are in lakhs. There are hardly 10 lakhs trees. And if you go to that, you will only road, you will find the vehicles.
Right. Very true.
There is no lack of trees. If there is no biodiversity, if there are no trees, how the city will become pollution, all kind of problem. The city people, cancer is that become, cardiovascular disease, blood pressure, the way the price rise, all the economic effect, unemployment, then there is frictional employment, unemployment. There are several type of unemployment you will find the city. But how to sustain the life in the city is a major challenge. And the government needs to come, has to say. And another thing, how to the city area develop. Suppose we have an NCR, 4 NCR, and nobody is interested to go NCR. Many of them are sticking to the city. How you develop those NCR so that people can the periphery areas have to look into, and so that there is a holistic concept of the city. City should not be a place of a particular region. So extension of the cities and boundaries of the city. Sometimes there is a different the Secunderabad, the same city. You see, you take the example of Chandigarh. Even Haryana and Punjab, they are claiming that thanks to that they have Panchkula has been developed by Haryana, and Mohali has been developed by Punjab. So there is no, the intensity of quarrel between the cities is less. So city is now more comfortable, because the area, boundary of the city should be also one smart city, should be also a very focused. Then communication facilities, your internet facilities, smart city, smart governance. That also available to the city. Industry, as you focus on industry based on small, because city is the place of generation of investment, because most of the, whether it is foreign direct investment or investment by the private sector within the country, they mostly focus on the cities. They want to develop in the city. Is the place of entrepreneurship. City is the place of innovation. City is the place of what you focus the development. And any nation wants to promote sustainable development has to focus on cities.
I was also reading that in the Scandinavian countries, the role of urban local body is very large, and apart from the collection of taxes, apart from providing the basic amenities of water, electricity, everything is, all the data set is with the municipal corporation. And municipal corporation also decides the curriculum of the school, and they play a very major role in the disposal of the waste, as it is done here also. And they have decided to address the issue of old persons staying in those cities in all the Scandinavian countries. So there is a special program and provision of a kind of revenue.
You rightly said this is because I had been to Finland, and I 3 times asked to that person whether your income tax goes to the central government or to the municipality. He told that no, our income tax goes to the municipality. And here what is happening, our income tax go to the central government, and central government through Central Finance Commission gives to the state government or local bodies. It is but real kind of decentralization, real kind of empowerment of the urban local bodies, you have rightly said, happened in the Scandinavian countries. And there are different models. We have to learn from these. Even we have a Uttar Pradesh. In Uttar Pradesh, urban local bodies are very powerful. The Jilla Panchayat, they maintain their own office through their revenue collection. That is not happening in other cities. That is the thing.
Like in Uttar Pradesh, you also said good example. The cities in Uttar Pradesh, primarily they had some kind of handicraft base. Like the Kanpur was leather work was there. Moradabad was with brass work. Firozabad with glass work. So the revenue generation was quite large.
Exactly. One should see the model. Even we have a model of Uttar Pradesh. I have gone to Uttar Pradesh. I have to see the Haryana cities. You go to Haryana, they are not comparable with the Kanpur, Hyderabad, Europe, even Banaras and your Lucknow and all the cities are desperate. Even Haridwar, you see, earlier it was in Uttar Pradesh, and it was based on this river.
Allahabad, Prayagraj, that was city for education, for law, for high court. So they have a different kind of concentration of population compared to other cities. So as Professor Pattanaik, you said very rightly that there are different models already available in our country. We have to only see the suitability of model, that which model will suit in which particular state and which all cities in our country. And accordingly, we should give development a thrust and give priority of development based on the available. You also very rightly said that certain cities, they specialized in pilgrimage. Like you gave example of Haridwar. Recently, our
Banaras,
and
Ayodhya.
Ayodhya has been developed very differently now. It is going to attract huge number of pilgrimage and tourists, and it will have a different model of growth and development. So cities should be also given. Some of the cities in some certain areas in South, they are more famous in the Uttarakhand and Kashmir for the tourism also because of the landscape.
You take Saharanpur. Saharanpur is for wood carving work. You have to find out what are the potential of the city.
Right.
And let us grow that city based on their potential.
Right.
Whether it is natural tourism or it is religious tourism, any kind of, you have to see the potential or industry or
So,
agriculture. You have to see.
So as we have briefly discussed that there should be diversity of opportunities, and seeing the potentialities of these different diversity, the resources, cities should be developed accordingly, and not a uniform model should not be copied all through the urban areas.
We came to the conclusion that in the process of structural change, the government, any country go for structural change. That means we have to think of more urbanization in place of rural.
Right.
We have to more depend on the industry and service sector and agriculture sector.
Right.
Okay, but we have to make the structural change.
Right.
City is one of the dimensions of the structural reform.
So with these few words, we would like to wind up. And the last word is that all the structural change should happen in cities for development. Thank you very much.